to make tiny jigheads just like this one, I used to use following components. So tungsten beads of required size. As you can see, they do have a tiny hole from one side and bigger, like slot almost, from the other side, hence slotted beads. And I used to use and still use and prefer these hooks. As you can see, they do have long shank. That is very important. It gives me the room to slide a longer lure on, and also it has a narrow gape that is very, very important for species that do have small mouths. And also it has, I believe, 45-degree eye, also very, very important. So as I say, finished product looks like that, and nothing wrong with that. And I fished and used these jigheads for years with great success, but there is a better way of doing it. Since recently those newer type of beads appeared and they are called offset, so you will see that it looks like almost like a egg pith bead, and the hole is like on the one end of that, or thinner end of that egg, if you will. And if I would take a hook and would make a jighead quickly, or just slide that bead onto, you would see how much better it looks like. So meaning that most of the weight will be beneath the shank of the hook, and that's very, very important, guys, especially if you will be using kind of lures just like this one, as in paddle tails. So meaning, you know, that the orientation of the lure will be always, you know, correct, because this weight will make sure of it. Anyway, let's quickly make one jighead and you will see the finished product, and I will explain in detail what advantages of this type of approach. So let's make a fresh jighead. I have a hook that is size 14 nymph, as you can see, quite long shank, narrow gape though, and 45-degree eye. This is great. And then I have an offset bead in 4 millimeters. These beads, they do have kind of one side of the eye or hole kind of engraved, if you will, or it's just bigger, and another side is smaller. So you want to start with the smaller side and thread the hook starting with that smaller side, just like that. And then it's just a simple deal of grabbing your UV glue and applying tiny little droplet into this little slot, and then holding the jighead by the shank, making sure that no of that UV glue would get into the eye of the hook, and that the bead would correct itself because of the gravity. And after a couple of seconds you just apply your UV light. Basic deal. Also, what I like to do after my glue sets like initially, then I would like, you know, just to drop my jighead onto the table or surface that I'm not afraid, you know, or I'm not afraid to ruin, and then would chuck my UV torch on top of it and would leave it for a few, you know, minutes, just to make sure, you know, that the glue would set. But, you know, after a couple of minutes, and especially when I'm making a batch, I can, you know, make another one, chuck it in there, another one, chuck it in there, you know, and I have 5 jigheads like in no time. Anyway, let's say we waited a few minutes and we got our jighead ready to go. It looks fantastic. As you can see, most of the weight is below the shank of the hook. That's ideal. This is what you want, guys. And if I would compare standard slotted bead or jighead made with slotted bead and offset one, you would see the difference. On this one, with a slotted bead, most of the weight is, you know, below the shank of the hook, and here the weight is everywhere, above and below the weight, or hook shank should I say so, meaning that this jighead will be presented in the water better, and the orientation of the lure will be better as well. The lure won't, impact the jighead, and you will hook the fish in the top lip and will land it, and you will lose less fish as well. Just way better approach. And if I would grab a tiny lure, let's make it shorter a little bit, just like that, and let's slide it on, and you will see how well it looks like. And this kind of bead has almost like flat this end now, meaning that the lure will be able just to slide next to it kind of flush and precisely. Maybe that will work. Perfect. As you can see, it's very, very flush, as in lure sits, or rubber sits, silicone sits flush to the jig head, meaning, that for the fish, it's more difficult to tell that, the deal they are trying to eat consists of two different elements now, just like a swim bait almost, like one bit. So looks fantastic, really. And as I say, this offset bead and all the bait will be below the lure almost, meaning that the orientation of the lure will be just like that, because as in loop will be, or eye will be of the hook kind of looking up, and hook point will be looking up as well, meaning when the fish will take it, it will get hooked in the top lip and will never ever come off. So yeah, fantastic. Anyway, I believe I covered everything, and going forward I will use these beads for my own fishing, and I would advise for you to try it out as well. Pretty certain you will like them. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Oh, almost forgot. Pretty certain someone will be asking, where do I get these beads? So you can get them, I'm sure, in most fly tying shops. If not, check AliExpress, and I will leave links below for beads, hooks, these lures, and glue and torch and so on. Check those out. But that's it. Thanks for watching now, and see you in the next one. Bye.